I can already smell a lot of heat incoming even before I start this video, but the main reason I started this channel was to voice my opinions about BLs I'm watching, as I hated the fact that I had nobody around me to talk about these shows. And I'm not one of those people who can watch shows after removing my brain from my head and keeping it on the side table to rest. So you can trust me on this, I will never back down just because some fanatic fans cannot stand others critiquing their faves. I'll keep giving you my honest thoughts about shows I'm watching. And if your taste matches mine, then please know that this is a safe space for you. So, without further ado, let's see which 10 BLs in my opinion suck ass but they are overhyped for various reasons. I get it now. I get why GMM stopped adapting Japanese shows and didn't have a single Japanese adaptation in their lineup for this year. It's because this shit flopped harder than Song Joong Ki's new movie. Watching this series, I could not believe this was the same Gemini Fort I fell in love with in Moonlight Chicken. It seriously looked like they hated each other in this series. They hated being around each other, especially touching and kissing each other. Especially Gemini, I literally thought I will see him break out in hives whenever Fourth touched him on screen. I know Fourth tried his best, but he just could not embody Aoki's quirkiness and how delicately charming and cute he was in the Japanese version. I think the writing let these two down massively in this series, and I much preferred the hetero couple in this series. Who is the director and writer of this series, because I do want to have a few words with them. They made me second guess my fondness for Gem and Fourth. I think they wrote the script of Cooking Crush in literally 5 minutes and produced the whole show in a week, because this series has one of the laziest piece of script writing and direction I've seen in any Thai BL. Like, there was literally no hook, no catch, no climax in the series. The direction felt so bland and uninspired, it's almost as if the whole purpose of the show was just to give Afghan fans an opportunity to see them on screen last year, and that's it. The lack of effort was so apparent that I couldn't help but feel genuinely sad. As BL fans, it feels like we're not given the importance we deserve. It's as if the creators think we are not worthy of solid plots or even a shred of effort in the execution. They assume we'll just be satisfied with some recycled tropes and popular pairings thrown together with no thought behind the script or direction. The only thing good about the show was Neo and Ong Pao, and I wish they were the main couple in this series instead of Afghan. Sunset Vibes was a horrible experience that I do not wish upon even my worst enemy. Just because BL is centered around skinship and romance between male actors doesn't mean you won't give us a proper plot and just slap the NC in our faces like we are some dumb hungry cows. We do not even need a kiss if you give us real acting, romance and a solid script. I've read the novel of the series and the novel itself was horrible, so I didn't have much hope for the series, but lo and behold, the series was even worse than the novel. Isbanki doesn't know the A of acting, and apparently the production thinks that just putting him in pretty outfits and giving him nice purses will distract us from the fact that he cannot perform as an actor. It was a really stupid mistake, and it's the only reason this series flopped, because the makers focused more on the aesthetics rather than the script and direction. There was no plot, the second couple were annoying as hell, and the GL couple were robbed of a good storyline. I can't figure out who the audience for Battle of the Writers was. It was too juvenile for an adult audience and too salacious for a younger audience. The writing was all over the place, and I didn't get what was the point of including the wuxia story that ran parallel to the original story of the main couple. Looking at the series itself, I can tell that the novel was overly complex and too messy for my taste. So if the author's motive was to promote their novel through this series, then they failed miserably, because looking at how badly the series was executed, I would never dare to pick up the novel and read it. None of the 5 writers looked like they could write even a word of fiction, let alone whole novels. Putting them in childish pajamas and overloading their face with makeup also didn't help their case at all. I don't know if it's tutorium or the bad scripts they get, but they haven't been able to impress me with any of their acting jobs until now. I've stopped holding any hope for their future series, but I wish they can really improve themselves in their future shows. Plot? Never heard of her. Acting? Never heard of her. I swear I did give this series an honest chance, but it disappointed me yet again. It's not like I hate Max and Nat. I really enjoyed them and their dynamic in Why Destiny, but since then they have disappointed me in every series they have appeared in. I think it's a combination of two factors. First, they're choosing the wrong scripts, and second, Nat is really bad at acting. He acts the same no matter what character he's playing, and that takes away from the realism of the character and how authentic it comes across on screen. Apart from acting, the script of this series was all over the place. The time jumps were confusing and I was bored as hell watching 1-hour episodes every week where nothing much happens. I did enjoy the chemistry between Nat and Gunn, so it's a shame that they didn't have much screen time together. Hidden Moon the series? Please keep it hidden. We don't need to see how confused and chaotic your mind was writing this mismatch of a BS storyline. First of all, did this company had money to hire an acting coach? If yes, then they did a very bad job and should give a refund to the company that produced this series. And if no, then it was a big mistake because the acting of the main leads let this series down a lot. They had no chemistry, and especially the guy who played the ghost didn't know how to act at all. And the fact that he had 1 pound of makeup piled on as a ghost did not help his case at all. I had so many questions watching this series, but I never got any answers. Don't watch this series if you have chaos going on in your life, because this series will add to it. It will give you such a headache that even aspirin won't help you. I think Kidnap the series was the most boring BL series of last year. I literally could not get through it without rolling my eyes and yawning every 5 minutes. I don't know why they named the series Kidnap, because there was nothing dark or gritty about this series and definitely no kidnapping. This series was actually made for Disney Channel and they accidentally showed it on YouTube. The plot had many loopholes and they completely steered away from the trailer, which promised to be somewhat realistic and dark. On top of the poor plotline, Leng's acting brought down Om in a lot of ways. Om has always given amazing performances with whoever he has worked with, but Leng's bad acting skills affected Om's acting on screen and the lack of coordination between them was evident. Overall, this was the worst GMMTV BL of last year for me. It kills me to see 2 of Afghan's shows on this list, but one thing I am is not biased. Even though I like Afghan, I will not praise their shows just because they appeared in it. The Trainee had a good premise, but it was let down by the chaos of having too many ships fighting for screen time in every episode. If this was supposed to be an Afghan show, then they should have been the center stage, but they were overshadowed by the hetero and GL storylines in this series. I was fighting my way through each episode to see Afghan interaction, but I got disappointed every episode. Even though I liked Ryan and P. Jane's characters, even though I loved their story, I couldn't enjoy it because their story arc was not properly developed and they didn't get any screen time in their own show. It's like the producers wanted to introduce new hetero and GL ships in the name of Afghan, since many fans would tune in thinking this was an Afghan show and would get slapped in the face by other couples. I'm definitely not the target audience for this kind of show and I'm okay with that. Caged Again was too juvenile for me and the bad special effects in the beginning also put me off tremendously. So much so that I watched the rest of the episode in a bad mood and couldn't get into the story of the main leads. For someone like me, the series felt really bland. I struggle to enjoy mindless fluff unless there's a compelling hook to keep me engaged. I don't understand this kind of Thai comedy and I rarely enjoy wholesome shows unless the actors are really good looking or have amazing chemistry, which I didn't find in this series. Both actors lacked chemistry with each other and their acting was also not the best according to me. Bad Guy My Boss was seriously bad, like I was having traumatic flashbacks watching the series. I was transported back to pre-COVID era where series like these were the norm and we didn't have any options to watch a quality series, so we would begrudgingly watch these kind of shows in hopes of better days. Like I don't understand why are we regressing to that time when we should be progressing. Everything about the series was terrible. I hated the slutty plot, I hated the boss and his acting, I hated the fact that these producers think that BL fans are a bunch of thirsty losers who will watch anything in the name of NC scenes. This BL belongs in the pre-COVID trash archives and I will not hear otherwise. Also, somebody give some acting lessons to the boss before he appears in something else. So what do you guys think about these shows? Give your reviews about each one of these series in the comments, and I'll see you soon. Bye lovelies.